This paper is based on a study conducted in the framework of the European project Net Children Go Mobile, which at the same time is included in the European Research Network UKids Online, where we authors are members. This network is focused on the study of the relationship of minors with communication technologies, and specifically this paper focuses the attention on those minors with difficulties that can make them more vulnerable in the digital environment. The group we will analyze shows a wide scope of problems: behavioral, learning, disabilities, or physical illnesses, as well as other kinds of difficulties. Although the type of problem of the collective is quite diverse, it is believed that they may share a common feature: the vulnerability that these problems generate. The research about minors with learning and attention problems has demonstrated that these children perceive Internet as a social medium that allows communication and fosters their personal relationships, enabling them to create or participate in the virtual communities they consider a safe environment. Children with learning and attention problems are often socially rejected by their peers and have difficulties to establish and keep friendships, and at the same time have a higher risk of experiencing solitude, low self-esteem, anxiety, and depression compared to other children without those problems, as indicated in Margalit or Vaina studies. In order to get an image as accurate as possible about Internet use habits of boys and girls with problems, as well as of the opportunities and risks they are exposed to, an analysis of the data corresponding to 61 minors with different issues was carried out. These minors are part of the sample used in the Spanish project Net Children Go Mobile, where a survey was done to 500 underage Internet users with ages ranging from 9 to 16 years old, and to their father or mother as well. Among these 5,000 children sampled, a group of 61 minors with problems were identified. These children's problems reported by their parents, by their interview, they included learning problems, 32 children, behavior problems, 6 children, physical disabilities, 3 children, physical illnesses, 3 children, mental disorders or difficulties of any other kind, 11 children. Even though the collective can be rather heterogeneous depending on the kind of problems, it is assumed that they share a common element, since their problems can position them in a situation of relative vulnerability, both in their social and their digital environment. In this sense, this study aims to establish possible differences between the risks and the damage experienced by these minors with difficulties compared to the rest. If, for the children and teenager population, the education in the use of ICTs is rather pertinent, as well as the awareness campaigns before the harassment or the contact with strangers, these are even more relevant for these collectives. In almost all cases observed, lackings in that area are identified, and often it is due to the low digital literacy of their parents. In addition, the search of specialized care for minors with symptoms or behavior or affection disorder has been associated with a greater intensity of said cognition and with a higher education level from their parents. In the collective analysis, the relevance vulnerable minors grant to the role of their peers regarding the problems they have is noteworthy. In fact, they state that their friends have helped them when something has bothered them, 48% versus 39%. and their peers tell them what they should do when that has happened, 62% versus 54%. On the other hand, as deduced from their answers, parental mediation is lower among them than among those who do not have said problems. In the active mediation, being close by or sitting next to them while they use the internet, the score is 22 and 14 points below, respectively. At the same time, the permissiveness also differs and is pronounced in other fields. Having their own profile in a social network, about 12 points above minors with problems, provide personal information, the prohibition is 9 points below, uploading pictures, videos, or music to share with others. From the group of responses regarding the two types of mediation, it seems that these minors rebel against the mediation developed by their parents. Regarding the possibilities of access, the lack of digital abilities and the computerized equipment at home hinders the completion of homework. This deficit constitutes a ballast that perpetuates the situation of inequality and exclusion. Minors with learning or behavioral problems connect with a lower frequency at home, even though at school the connection of these minors is almost 13 points above the others. Despite the differences in the prevalence of unpleasant experiences, both groups have had are not quite pronounced. There is a significant difference in the damage caused too. From vulnerable minors, 32% has been very upset or somewhat upset before these negative experiences compared to the 22% of minors without problems. Regarding the level of exposure to receiving sexual images, words, drawings, or videos, it is superior in the case of vulnerable minors. 42% received it against 30%. However, the level of damage caused by this risk is very similar. Through the analysis of the data about a small group of this collective, we have attempted a first approach towards the difficulties they might find in the access and, above all, the use of internet. In this sense, it would be much more adequate and enriching to conduct a qualitative analysis that allows to delve into online experiences of minors with problems in order to contribute to orientate specific interventions targeted to the most vulnerable collectives.